afternoon, everybody. This is Sam Kofer with Exit Right Realty. I'm happy to bring on my buddy Billy Saunders, who's a loan officer with Movement Mortgage. Billy and I have worked together. He has a great relationship with our office here, and he's working with some of my clients. Billy, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Sam. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to sit down with you and talk. I love Zoom meetings. I'm a people person like you,
Yeah,
so it's a great way for me to just fill that void that I'm having as we're kind of working our way through these challenging times with this COVID-19 pandemic. It still gives me the ability to see the people that I care about, whether it be professionally, whether it be my real estate partners and my clients. I really am taking advantage of the technology. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. And the idea is to kind of bring information to the consumer and the public, that they can have access to. We're all living through our screens now. So, right. This is just an opportunity to bring the real estate industry professionals to those people that might want and need this information.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and get started, Billy. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been in the mortgage business for just about 20 years. I started in November of 2001. It's been a long road to get to the point where I'm enjoying the success that I'm having right now. Made a lot of mistakes along the way, but I learned a lot of valuable lessons through those mistakes. And, a little fun fact about myself, something that I'm really proud of right now. In 2019, I was recognized as one of the top 200 mortgage lenders in the country, loan officers in the country.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's
awesome.
It's a huge accomplishment. I've seen this list that comes out pretty much every year in my career, and always thought, man, those guys are amazing, all their business that they're doing. And, there's a lot of things that have attributed to that success. That put us in the top 1% of loan officers nationwide. And I say awesome. Us, because quite frankly, it's challenging for one person to do that type of volume and help as many customers as we have this year.
Sure.
And I'm blessed to have an amazing team. You obviously know Emily and Beth and Yvette and my leadership in Alberto and Casey across the board, and Mike Brennan, our regional. They do a lot to help support, both me, my realtor partners, and they work really hard for our customers. And
awesome.
To just kind of have that recognition and see my name up on that ranking was a really, really rewarding experience this year. Hope to continue to stay there now.
Absolutely, man. So let me ask you this: how'd you end up in the mortgage industry?
That's a great story that I love telling. Right out of high school, I'm not gonna lie, school was not something that fit into my life. I was a horrible student. I have, everybody talks about ADHD. I have high definition ADHD. So ADHD is what I'm working with. And,
right.
And I was one of those kids that as a young man, I needed to have something that I was staying busy with, and sitting behind a desk and going to school was not my thing. Yeah. So when I graduated high school, I joined the ironworkers local. I was a union iron worker. Yeah. So I was literally climbing around on an 8-inch steel beam, 150 feet in the air, tied off to a safety line. Sometimes we weren't. It was a different time back then with, safety requirements and things. And, I really truly felt like that was going to be my career path in life. I liked that job. I really did. I liked the physical aspect of it. And I liked the fact that it allowed me to work outdoors. And that was a nice, idea for me to go that route. I can't remember what year it was, maybe 1989, something like that. I was involved in a really serious car accident. I broke my neck and I fractured vertebrae in my back. And it was a long recovery from that. And, and you can imagine, my doctors suggested, maybe you need to think about a career change, get out of that construction world.
Yeah.
You've had some pretty extensive damage to your body. As a young man, you can kind of recover from it now, but 20 years of, swinging a heavy hammer and working in that environment probably is going to take a toll on you. And it's going to lead to a really difficult life as I get to the age that I'm at now, which is 50. So, I bounced around a few jobs. I worked for the VA military hospital for about 7 or 8 years.
Nice.
I got out of that, sold wireless communication systems. I sold GPS when that was a hot thing. And I was introduced to the mortgage industry by a good friend that ultimately ended up becoming my business partner when he and I opened up our own mortgage brokerage back in 2004. And that really is kind of what led me into this business and getting into mortgages.
That's awesome. That's a great story, Billy. I see why you like to tell it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about two totally different industries.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I know you're enjoying it now. Let me ask you this. Why Movement Mortgage? I mean, there's so many mortgage brokers, mortgage banks out here,
right.
lenders. Why Movement?
Well, it's funny. Just like I accidentally ended up in the mortgage business, I can honestly tell you that I accidentally ended up with Movement Mortgage. That was not something that was predicated and planned out. It was, I was quite happy with the company that I was working for when I was introduced to Movement Mortgage. I have a good friend of mine who was a regional director for Movement. And he wanted to recruit me to come on board with them. And I had never heard of Movement Mortgage. They really didn't have a real good foothold or, existing reputation in this area. I did look them up online like anybody would. And, it looked like they had some pretty unique things that they were doing different. And he kept calling me, man. He was so persistent. He's like, come on, man, you're going to love this company. And, he asked me to go on what's called a discovery trip. And what it is, they fly you down to their headquarters. And I took him up on the offer. I was like, you know what, I'll take a couple of days and get away for a minute, maybe recharge my batteries. I know they're going to put me up in a really nice hotel. They're going to give me the grand tour of the facility. They're going to take me out for probably a really thick steak and a nice cold beer or something. So why not? I'll check it out. When I went on the trip, I really just kind of was looking for a little getaway for a day or two, not really realizing that I was going to be, blown away and thoroughly impressed by this company that I really just didn't understand. When I went and checked out their systems, the business model itself was really unique with their upfront underwrite, their process. But, finally, their culture is what really sold me on it. Their management approach, from a position of servant leadership was unlike anything I had ever been exposed to in the industry. And I felt like, as somebody who considers himself a leader in the business and, I've worked as a branch manager like I am now, and I have people that, I feel like I have to manage and lead and I want to make sure that I'm being a good leader to them. I really embraced what it was that they were selling from a leadership position. And I thought, man, that's amazing. I like that. Their mindset of, it's written in our mission statement. We love and value people. That took helping customers to a different level. It was a different level of understanding just how important my job is and how being a loan officer is having such a positive impact on people. And like I said, the culture and the mindset was just so different. It was unlike anything that I had been exposed to in my time in the business. So I jumped on board pretty quickly.
It's definitely interesting you say that. It's funny because that's similar to what drew me to Exit. The culture, the servant leadership. I mean, from the top down, I'm talking about the founder of our company, even down to, my individual broker. That's part of the reason why I chose and I plan to stick with Exit. Let me ask you this. Why do you think customers choose Movement? We know why you chose Movement. Why do you think customers choose Movement?
I think it really, for me, honestly, I don't know that they're necessarily choosing Movement, so to speak. One of the advantages that I can say that is an advantage to choosing Movement is our upfront underwriting process.
Yes.
That's huge. You've experienced yourself with the clients that you and I have worked with together. So I shouldn't say it's not Movement. It is. There's a lot of it's Movement's, their systems and the way we do the upfront underwrite. But what that really does for the consumer, it gives them a deeper, more detailed approval that's signed off on by the actual underwriter of the file. And that's something that's really big in our industry because in my experience leading up to Movement Mortgage, basically the loan officer was making a lot of decisions to allow people to go out and write offers on homes, to purchase homes. The reality is the loan officer doesn't decide whether the loan's approved or denied.
It's the underwriter.
We're just a conduit of information to help prepare the files and get them submitted. But the underwriter is the judge, jury, and executioner on every loan. So, and that level of investing that much more time into the transaction to get that upfront approval, it not only does it give the customer a great sense of confidence knowing that their loan's not going to get denied at the end, because they ran into something that maybe the loan officer missed in their assessment. That second level of verifications really helps to go a long way, but it also it helps the consumer to be more competitive in situations in which there's multiple offers. When I can call a listing agent and tell a listing agent that the file has already been submitted to underwriting and reviewed and approved by an actual underwriter, and know that, and explain to that listing agent that, hey, my client, really all we need at this point is maybe refresh a pay stub or a bank statement, and then also get the title work and the appraisal and the inspections done. And we can go to closing pretty quickly, and we can also do it very smoothly. That really puts most buyers in a position of winning in situations where they might not win otherwise.
That's a great point. That's a definitely great point. I've been on both sides of it, and I know with you guys now, we're experiencing that. We put a deal in for a client, and you calling the listing agent helped put the deal at ease. I mean, being able to explain to them, look, this is how we work. This is what, this is what these buyers are looking like. And we can basically get this deal closed when we need to. That's a great point of being able, from my point of view, being able to put an offer in and have confidence and say, okay, I don't have to worry about the lending being messed up or anything. We're going to be fine.
We always say, and I preach this all the time, that you as a real estate agent, your most valuable commodity is your time. And the last thing that you want to do is spend 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, and you know what? Quite honestly, the way the industry's changed, sometimes you might be working with a client for 2 years, showing them multiple properties before they make a decision to move forward. And you want to know that you want to have that confidence and knowing that your time is not being devalued or wasted on the hopes and prayers that maybe the loan officer was doing a good job on the file. But I've been doing this 20 years. I love having the underwriter's second review because everybody makes mistakes. We're all human.
It's true.
And I don't have to lay awake at night when my agent partners are out writing offers on properties, wondering, did I catch everything? Do I need to wake up and go back and look at that file again? Maybe I missed something. And, I know that I've had that underwriter do that, and that helps me sleep at night. It helps my agent partner sleep at night. And it just helps everybody in the process. So it really does give an additional layer of confidence, in my opinion. And then I think ultimately, like I said, the process is great, but, I know that we do a really good job also. Communication is a key part of the industry. And, we make sure that we keep open lines of communication with everybody involved in the transaction. And I think my customers feel really good with myself and my team members. And we don't have clients that walk away from us very often. I mean, we have a good retention ability. We're working with clients from start to finish. We don't lose deals.
That's great. Let me ask you this, Billy. You being a lender and us being in, the era of coronavirus, what programs are still available for, first-time home buyers, investors, those that might be even looking to refinance? Like, can you give us an idea of what's going on there?
Yeah, right now, a lot of the programs that feature down payment assistance have been suspended. And it's a temporary suspension. We shut it down about a month ago, and we shut it down for 60 days. And we're going to revisit it in another month and just kind of see where we are in the process. Anytime that you have a transaction where the consumer does not have any financial investment into the transaction, those deals are more likely to default. I mean, if you take 2 deals side by side and you've got, $200,000-$300,000 purchases, one, the buyer is going to get a $9,000 grant to cover their down payment. They literally have no money invested in the deal. And then you have another buyer who's putting their own $9,000 that they've, blood, sweat, and tears worked so hard to save. You figure in times of stress and financial difficulty, which one of those buyers is going to be more likely to default on their mortgage? It's going to be the one that received the down payment assistance versus the one who actually put their own money into the transaction. As a result of that, those are very risky or they're perceived as very risky transactions right now.
Okay.
So down payment assistance has really kind of been suspended over a 90-day window.
Mm-hmm.
And or 60-day window. We're going to revisit those again in about a month just to kind of see if we can reopen those back up.
Sure.
But, I don't want to, tell you guys that there's nothing good to tell. The great news is that interest rates are still really, really low.
Mm-hmm.
And there are options that are allowing buyers to still purchase with no money to low down payment requirements. So business has not really slowed down for us. We're finding, and I think we'll talk about it a little bit more, that this is a really, chaos breeds opportunity, in my opinion.
Right. And, I agree.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people out there that recognize that. So we're seeing them really step up, and rather than be, spectators who are watching to see how that whole thing unfolds, they've aligned themselves to take advantage of the opportunity that's being presented by the coronavirus.
That's great information. And I mean, I know for a fact with my own experience that, I've got buyers that are still, they're looking for places that, they want to purchase, even though we're in the middle of this, change in the way we do business. But I mean, as my broker says, look, the real buyers are out there now. They're the ones that want to actually make a transaction happen. And I personally feel like it's a great opportunity, a great time to do it.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Let me ask you this. What advice would you give to someone looking to purchase, or someone who's not quite ready to purchase? Like
Yeah, we just talked a little bit about, chaos breeding opportunity.
Right.
And there are tons of opportunities right now for somebody who's interested in purchasing. And if I have somebody, and I really do, somebody who wants to purchase a home, but they're not really sure, maybe they're kind of hesitant and they're on making a decision.
Sure.
That's a conversation that I'm having with a lot of people right now. And one of the things that I can't predict is the future and where interest rates are going to be in 6 months. But I do know that they're amazing right now. If you're going to wait and you have the ability to buy now, and you're not concerned about your employment, and your ability to generate income, so that you can ultimately, pay the monthly mortgage payment and obligation. If you, by waiting, you're really risking losing the low rates that are being offered right now. It's a position of supply and demand. Right now, with the market and so many people taking a position of, operating under that fear and stepping back and not moving forward, there's no demand right now. But there's a supply of mortgage companies who want to write loans for qualified buyers. And the incentive based on that supply and demand is really in the interest rates right now. And what do you think is going to happen when we come out of the other side of this? And everybody who's been held up in their homes for weeks.
Oh my gosh.
And they're ready to get out and buy something, there's going to be less demand. There's going to be a stronger economy. And as a result of that, I expect rates could increase. And, those who waited could potentially lose their position to take advantage of this. Not to mention, here's a big one. This is really important to stress, I think. They could be in a situation where they might be competing against buyers who are doing the same thing they've done. So now all these competing offers are going to equal higher sales prices, missed opportunities. You're going to see a shortage of inventory as a result. And right now, a buyer can really step in and take advantage of the low interest rates, and also having less buyers to compete with in the real estate and housing market.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Billy, give us a feel-good story. A feel-good story about how you were able to help someone get a mortgage. And
and last year we helped over 100 home buyers. It was an amazing thing. And one of the things that I, in retrospect, I kind of really look back at as I helped each person was just their perception of what it means to buy a home. Our culture really predicates loving and valuing people. And as we do this and nurturing the relationships as we work with people, we're finding out a lot about them personally and their desire to become a homeowner. And one of the things that I always really kind of think about it and I pick up on is just how happy people are when they're
Yes.
buying that home.
Right.
And there's different levels of it, in my opinion. There are
Yeah.
some people, I bought my first house when I was 24.
Uh-huh.
I did that because my mom and dad owned a house my whole life. So when
Sure.
I became of age and solid employment status, I just did what my parents did, right?
Right.
You know
Right.
what? There's a lot of people who are my age and older, and I'm
Who
50,
don't? Yeah.
who have never owned a home before.
Right.
They're
Right.
experiencing that for the very first time in their life.
Yeah.
And it's something that maybe because it wasn't something that they were exposed to in their younger years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe their parents rented their entire lives. Maybe their
Right.
grandparents were renters, and they might be generationally a homeowner for the first time.
Right.
And that's a proud accomplishment
That
for
is.
people.
It
And I've
is.
sat across the settlement table from buyers, like I said, who are even, some cases, even older than me, that just break down in tears.
Yeah.
And it's something that even myself personally, and I see other people, they take it for granted as it's just an entitlement, something that we do. But you don't know what somebody else's struggle may have been. And to really experience that, and I've had the good blessing and fortune to experience it a lot of times in my career.
Sure.
But more recently, a lot of times this year.
Mm-hmm.
That really is the part that's when I really kind of feel that emotional, kind of reward and validation that what I'm doing is really important.
It means something.
Yeah, it's so much more important than even maybe I gave consideration to, because I bought a house at such a young age.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that does it for me too. I mean, being able to see the journey, from maybe a buyer who wasn't quite ready, from the beginning, and you're spending time with them and you're trying to get them to a point where they can get the pre-approval. And then, you still have to look for the home, right? You still have that journey, you know what I mean? And to be able to see it, the culmination of it to where they can cross that finish line and sign on the dotted line at the settlement table, there's nothing like it that does it for me.
So
there's nothing like it.
Yeah, you just said something that really resonates with me, and it gives me an opportunity to really brag about one of my team members here for a second. Mm-hmm. You've obviously met Emily, who works she's an invaluable member of my team. She's amazing, great job. And one of the things that she does for us is that she will work with people who are not ready to buy a house for whatever reason. They've got some credit challenges.
Sure.
They're just, they've got some obstacles that are in front of them that maybe they and you never know what do they say? Bad things happen to good people all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't know what the circumstances are, but maybe they missed something, a car payment, they missed a payment, they had a couple dings on their credit report.
Yeah.
You don't know what caused that. It wasn't that they're just being reckless with their life and they weren't making payments. But, we have one lady that we helped buy a house last year, and we worked with her. Emily worked with her for about 6 to 7 months to repair her credit, and she and Emily became very good friends over that 6-7 month window. And Emily would give her advice on a weekly basis, and she would call us and give us updates. All right, I did this. Now what do I do? Now what do I do? Yeah. And we eventually helped that young lady buy a house.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that was really one that we take a lot of pride in, because we do run into people, and we do make sure that we designate a lot of our time and commit to not just telling somebody, no, we can't help you. Yeah. Our opinion and our attitude is, we can't help you right now.
Right now.
We're going to give you some really good advice and help put you in a position where you can buy a house in the future, whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or maybe even 2 years, like we talked about. But we're gonna give you all the advice, and as long as you're willing to participate, and be involved on the journey, we'll get you there.
That's in my mind, that's the most important thing. The buyer has to put in the work as well, and many times, we'll see whether buying a house is really a priority for them or not. I mean, we're here to help them, but obviously they have to make some steps too.
Yeah. We all travel the path together.
Exactly. We're all working for the same thing. Let me ask you this. On the flip side, do you have any horror stories?
Yeah, I got one right now, unfortunately. I have a customer right now that through this whole, pandemic, he's a business owner.
Sure.
He and his wife own a nail salon.
Okay.
And you can imagine that's a business that's been pretty heavily impacted by social distancing.
Right.
That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
And he was working with another mortgage company that completely destroyed his application. They did a very poor job of presenting it to an underwriter. He was under contract. He had invested probably close to $2,000 in appraisals and inspections to get all the way to the table and only be denied. We were able to, jump in and rescue the deal.
Sure.
Using our upfront underwriting process, had a file, well packaged by another one of my amazing team members, Beth Swope, been in the business for 40 years. She really specializes in self-employed buyers, and that's a niche kind of area because not every loan officer really knows how to really study and break down and calculate income. And she worked with our underwriters to make sure that we had an approvable loan for this guy and his family. Nice. And we had the loan upfront underwritten and approved. He went out and got a new contract on another property, was so excited to finally move forward after having his heart broken. And then with this whole, coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic, basically his industry's been shut down for, his office, his business has been shut down for over a month and a half now.
Oh, wow.
And without any income, he just can't proceed. And it's not even that it's our decision. I mean, ultimately it is our decision because we're providing him with the loan, and our underwriter finally says, "Hey, Billy, I hate to make this call and talk to you about this." And I had just hung up with him, and I said, "No, it's okay. He doesn't want to proceed right now."
Oh, okay.
But it's even though he wanted to pull back on it and not move forward, he was making that decision responsibly. He knew I don't want to enter into a mortgage that I can't pay. So he has just decided to, again, press the pause button. And while that's, kind of it's not a great story to tell, the way I feel, it's going to be an even greater story to tell when we get on the other side of this and we're able to help him.
That's a great point. I mean, the responsibility or the responsible decision by that particular buyer, that's a great decision. And in the era that we're in now, I mean, basically you have to do what you feel is best for you. You know what I mean? I mean, we're here if you're ready to make the move, but we're not pushing. If you feel like, you're not ready yet, it's not our job to push you and make you feel uncomfortable.
No, absolutely not. I mean, that's just no way to do business.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy, I appreciate your time, man. I thank you for being on here with me. Where can people reach you?
The best way to reach me is by my phone number. It's a direct line to me, 301-440-9102. Sure. If you want to apply online, I think I did a pretty good job of securing a nice web domain.
Right.
My website is www.dmvloanofficer.com.
Nice.
So it's like DC, Maryland, Virginia loanofficer.com. And you can apply online at that website. And my team and I are standing by. We're ready to help you. If you got questions during this time, maybe you're not buying a house right now.
Sure.
Maybe if somebody just wants to speak to an industry professional on the finance side, I am thrilled to help out and be of value and service to those folks as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Billy. I really appreciate your time. Man. And be safe out there, and we'll be talking real soon.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.